Hello there, this is Swift, bringing you another game of Dawn of War 2 Elite. Today's map is Calderis Refinery, and we have the duo of Rebel playing as the Chaos Lord, Scumbag Jeff, who's a real scumbag by the way, playing as the Apothecary, Gistap playing as the Techmarine, and Fiery playing as the Chaos Sorcerer. We even have the little Cogs of Vashtor skin here, developed by Newt, one of the in-house modders at Elite. Well, I guess saying they're one of the in-house modders at Elite implies that we're like a company or something. But I love these little dreadnought arms on the heretics. It's a very, very cute skin and definitely one of the better Elite skins out there. So we have a bit of a mirror match coming up here on Calderis Refinery. Chaos and Space Marines on each side. But will we see if the offensive support duo of the Chaos Lord and the Apo is able to take down the utility duo of the Techmarine and the Sorcerer? It's a very interesting composition actually, because here you have, if the two teams start playing together, you've got potentially the Chaos Lord being made completely unkillable by Jeff's Apothecary. Whereas there's obviously plenty of damage coming in from the Techmarine and a good bit of control coming in from the Chaos Sorcerer. So I think as mirror matches go, this is actually potentially quite good. And blissfully, the random team placements have meant that neither of the factions are mirroring one another in the early phase. I was very, very tempted to call it the laning phase. I've been playing quite a bit of Deadlock recently. But it is essentially the same kind of concept. These heretics are forced back here by Jeff, who, just coming in with some very clutch heals on the tactical marines earlier, managed to save them from dropping a model, but with the second heretic squad coming in on retreat, they are forced away. The Apothecary probably going to survive unless the Sorcerer, with some cheeky doom bolts, doesn't manage to kill them. Interesting, the blue team right now so far going for the triple cap, which they don't quite manage to land, but they do maintain a double for a short amount of time. The map control is very much in their favour as well, and I mean, with a bruiser like the Chaos Lord who's able to just walk at people, I can't say I'm exactly surprised. Something worth noting is that this is not a replay that I stole from the website. In case you're unaware, because I think some people are genuinely unaware, the ESL Reporter is a tool baked into Elite Mod which just logs games on the website, and it is an absolute godsend. I forget who made it. I think it was maybe Wise Windu? Potentially a very old sort of tech priest for Elite. Used to make a lot of the tools for the mod and the website. Interestingly, double worship there by the Zange heretics infiltrating them, but the assault marines were wise to their location, and they are going to force off the low squad, but the other squad of Chaos heretics actually doing a lot, and the clutch heal comes in, preventing them dropping a model, and it looks as if Fiery's going to just be forced off. Oh no! In fact, that's not true at all, because we see some Raptors and CSM joining the fight here, as oh my gosh, Rebel has been taking the fight mid. Double sniper scouts here for Gistap. I keep having to look at the roster to check which names are which, because it's like, oh, I don't remember who's playing what faction. So actually, surprisingly favourable engagement there for the blue team. I was not necessarily expecting it to go super well. But you just see the power of the Apo heal. I mean, and look, we've got the purification rites, which is absolutely classic on the Apothecary with ASM. Just getting a bit of knockback and a bit of damage. It utterly destroys heretics when the heal gets used. Also another classic pickup here is the Noise Marines for the Chaos Lord, because of course Corn Worship increases speed by 2, which means these guys with their typically pretty short range are able to close the distance quite well. Massive skirmish coming down here in mid though. We see that the Sword of Flame has been bought for the Chaos Sorcerer. These heretics are constantly low. I'm not really sure why there isn't a second Aspiring Champion being bought, or at least some grenade launchers, because these heretics just keep kind of bleeding models in fights. Assault Marines going in for the disruption, but you have to wonder how much value is going to be extracted here without a heal. We're seeing the Aura of Flames coming on, and an Assault Marine model does drop. Definitely a bit of a messy engagement there. I'm not entirely sure who was going to win, but it does look like the red team have gained something from it. Though with these heretics bleeding, there's going to be no power bash going on. Very, very greedy Doom Blast there, just making sure that the scouts are forced off. And I mean, Fiery could go for the power bash with 2 models on the heretic squad, but it seems pretty unlikely. Chaos Sorcerer is bashing with the Raptors, and we see the Techmarine down here just sort of facing off against this Chaos Lord. No upgrades on either of them. These double sniper scouts are going to be a huge pain for the Chaos Lord, and of course the shotgun's very good up close, but they can't knock the Chaos Lord back or suppress him. So the snipers seem like a very, very natural pickup for someone as slow as the Chaos Lord. The thing is, I often say this kind of stuff, right, but if you put me in a game like this against these players, I would be the dumbest individual ever. I would always be making the worst possible calls, and someone casting my game would be saying things like, I just don't understand why they went for that. Why did they think that triple Noise Marines would be a good thing to pick up? It's one thing when you're watching a replay, it's another thing when you're playing the game. I've learned that the hard way. Many times I have been on the receiving end of some very unflattering Indridcast's comments, but I think we all know that feeling. It's somehow always the very worst games that always get cast, and everyone thinks, wow, who's this bozo? Why are you casting their games? Red team right now actually proving to have a significant amount of momentum, which is kind of curious. I was expecting that the Chaos Lord would dominate the early game, especially alongside that Apothecary with those heals coming in, but it seems as if blue team are kind of just fighting 1v1s for the most part, whereas the red team have been grouping up a lot more. Dark Flames does try to catch the Devastators on retreat, but whiffs, so that is unfortunate there. These Raptors are pretty low. But yeah, there's just quite a lot of action going on here. Even an incredibly greedy Saint Shrine coming down, doing actually quite significant damage to the Noise Marines. It will go down. Right, for a moment I thought the Chaos Lord was... Sorcerer was going for a revive, but it is the Apothecary who died, so probably not a good idea to revive your allies. Chaos Heretics very low, probably gonna escape, you know, you never know, sometimes a bit of fiendish piercing damage and retreat is enough. But we do see the blue team pulling it back now, playing together. I mean, they have been ceding a huge amount of map control. We've lost this blah, 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 blah. I have dementia, this wreck point in the south. And excuse me for a moment, because I am drinking coffee whilst doing this cast. Very nice home espresso, would you believe? You'll hear those arseholes be like, guys, if you want to save money, stop buying coffees out, buy an espresso machine and you'll be like saving £5 a day. First of all, who's spending £5 a day on coffee out? You need to change that habit no matter what. Second of all, no. Buying an espresso machine will just turn you into a coffee snob, and then guess what? You're buying expensive coffee. It's a trap. It's a trap. It's a very delicious trap. It's a trap I'm very glad I'm in, but it's a trap nonetheless. Blood Sacrifice Bloodlet is called in, harassing the red team here, but this Dreadnought, of course, has a lot of things to say to them. Mostly to do with its fist, but it is a very nice little distracting tactic from the Chaos Lord. Does keep the red team occupied for far longer than they needed to be. Does feed a little bit of XP to the Dreadnought though, which is kind of interesting. These heretics, once again, super low. Fiery somehow managing to maximize the value, but that will not last long. A warp does come in from the Chaos Sorcerer, but it is a warp too late. Chaos Raptors here jumping in, also trying to extract some value from this moment, and they may actually wipe the Shotgun Scouts, but a clutch heal comes in. They are super low. It may be the Raptors who end up being in trouble here, given that no, the Assault Marines are in retreat. Also, oh goodness me. Ooh, 2 models left there. That's terrifying. These Raptors though really need to get out. Sorcerer, not much of a guy for healing, you know, he's a bit selfish. You know, the Apothecary is more like, the Apothecary is like a mercy main, you know, he's like, I love my team, I gotta keep everyone alive. The Sorcerer is just like, I have a team? Huh? You mean, I have test subjects to sacrifice? Oh, these poor Sniper Scouts. Yeah, I mean, they should have retreated at the first jump, really, but I guess they thought with the Dreadnought coming in they had a bit more leeway. These Raptors have been providing a little bit of value here though for Rebel. It's interesting how we see these sort of mirrored compositions. These level 2 Raptors from Fiery providing incredible value. Did lose both the Heretics, but you know, you can't win everything. Noise Marines just providing a little bit of utility, bashing these gens here. Calderis Refinery is kind of one of those weird maps where, because it works in so many modes, it has this odd little flow to it. So 1v1, obviously, it's a semi-large map. You know, it's got a good area. There's lots of maneuvering to back cap. There's lots of space to play with. 3v3, it's quite congested because you have these 3 lanes down the middle and the top and the bottom. But 2v2 is a weird one because the early game is very much just like 2 1v1s taking place simultaneously. And then as the game progresses, you can see everyone just sort of comes to mid. But it is definitely one of Relic's more successful maps. I think they really hit on a formula that works with Calderis. And for some reason they decided to make utterly abysmal maps like Capital Spire instead. The Dreadnought was successfully warped out by the Sorcerer, which is a massive pickup for the red team because losing that would have been pretty dire. We can see the blue team snowballing right now. Oh god, these ASM, no, oh my boys, F in the chat for Craig. Oh, Craig, your service shall be remembered. Your life was glorious, and we love you, Craig. ASM going to jump these Raptors who really just have no business being here. They do get to retreat out. They are level 2, really need to keep them. Jeff's ASM just kind of brutalizing, really. Interesting, using the Sigil of the Rift there to bring some Mark of Saints CSM in, which I think was a really nice play in theory, but in practice, maybe not. That's a really unfortunate moment there, just not able to wipe the Sorcerer in retreat. Literally 1 HP. Literally 1 HP. But we do see that a bit of a reversal in the momentum is happening here as blue team are effectively sweeping the map. I mean, they've managed to cap this requisition point down here, so they must be doing okay. Plague Marines bashing the power, Chaos Lord just kind of keeping the red team busy. And with these tactical marines completely unupgraded, Gistap down to only one scout squad and no war gear on the Techmarine, their army's looking a little bit anemic, even with the Terminators called in here and the Chaos Lord going down. There's really only so much they can do right now. I mean, the Terminators could upgrade to a heavy flamer, potentially, given the massed infantry here from Rebel, but they're not really in the best position right now. Gistap did actually lose the Dreadnought at some point, which I completely missed because I am a complete moron. So, yeah, things ain't looking so good. Gistap choosing to go for the Assault Cannon, which is a fair enough pick, I suppose. I always forget, Plague Marines, they're kind of weird. Yeah, they're infantry, not heavy infantry. Which I understand is kind of like more of a balance thing. But it does seem very incongruous that they would be heavy infantry. Raptors just bullying these Space Marines here. I mean, these Raptors are providing great value for Rebel at the moment. Not sure. I'm guessing the Terminators were elsewhere. It looked like they just teleported in and then walked out, which is probably not what happened. Predator does catch these Noise Marines off guard. It's very interesting to see that the Blastmaster has not been purchased. Ooh. Oh dear, Rebel does lose their Heretics going for the VP in an incredibly greedy push. And Rebel also announcing that the Phobos is on the way, although gonna have to replace those Heretics because there is absolutely no repair support from the Chaos side on the blue team. Jeff does have 2 scouts, so if they can coordinate, they should be able to provide some repair support, but red team currently just kind of re-collapsing. This is a very interesting game of one side gaining momentum only to hit a brick wall, and the other side just kind of proving that not everything is set in stone, you know? It can be very easy to look at engagements in a vacuum and think, wow, we lost that engagement, we lost the game. But Dawn of War is a mental game in many ways, and you have to realize that momentum shifts, and I have classically always fallen foul of momentum being like the deciding factor for me. If the enemy team gets momentum, I find it very difficult for me to get into my head that I could ever come back. These players, much more experienced, tenured, I think they know the lesson well enough. Do of course see a unfortunate wipe for the Lascannon Havocs? Not, oh my god. Devastators. Why am I thinking of H words? That's insane. Phobos getting incredibly greedy. Predator Annihilators pushing in over here, and this could actually be the end of the Phobos because I just don't understand what it was trying to do here. In fact, it will go down. Very, very greedy play there by Rebel, pushing it all the way up, and incredibly clutch save on the Predator earlier by Fiery Sorcerer. Just not really sure what was going on there. Not really sure what the plan was. Plague Marines kind of just eating piercing damage right now, which is exactly what they are kind of designed to eat. These Chaos... oh my god, the Dementia strikes again. The Tactical Marine Squad may ironically have been saved from dying in the nuke by being flung by the nuke, which is something that happens quite a bit with the Chaos nuke. Is the chains are supposed to bring things into the center of the nuke, but they typically overshoot the center, and ironically, the nuke will often save your units from dying. It's a very bizarre design choice, but obviously, as we know, the center of the Chaos nuke does hideous amounts of damage, so perhaps in a way it's a balancing mechanism. Not sure if it was really the best Imperial Abyss for that moment, but I understand that basically when faced with so few VPs on either side, any way of stalling the enemy team is going to be a net positive. We do see the blue team going for a quick cap here, which will make it a double in their favour, and the red team have to respond to this incredibly quickly. The blue team did lose the Phobos, which was massive, but the red team still weren't able to capitalise on that momentum. Khorne Chaos Space Marines are just going for that cap. He doesn't even care if he loses the squad. And they will die in retreat because there ain't no way these guys are getting out. Right. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's actually clutch from Rebel. That's genuinely clutch moment. The Sorcerer goes down for Fiery, which is exactly not what he needed right now. These Mark of Ancient Chaos Space Marines here providing lots of firepower, but that force barrier there from the Librarian is going to be able to push them off the cap. Blue team is doing everything that it can to just delay the inevitable here. And they're doing it pretty well. The Dark Flames called down there on the Heretics. This Blastmaster upgrade is proving to have massive value. Level 3. Predators even out of control. Oh my goodness, it's all collapsing for the red team. They just, from that greedy push by Rebel to just getting all of their units split apart in the mid and utterly dominated by the firing line of the blue team. It's looking very, very difficult for them right now. Raptors have upgraded to melt guns. They want to dive this Predator, and can't say I blame them. The shotgun scouts are over there, but that, oh, beautiful Blastmaster shot completely shuts them down. They do jump in, but the jump is staggered. This is a terrible place for the Raptors. Goodness me, if the micro was more on point, then I think the scouts could have grenaded them in retreat, but that is a very, very difficult move to pull off. We do see the Khorne Chaos Space Marines called in here, and the reason why it was so clutch that they survived was because these guys, you know, could potentially have won the game, but as we can see, the red team pulling off some kind of reversal, but the blue team also recapitalizing on the points. It looked as if the game might swing back in the red team's favor. Technically, it still could if they have a way of getting these guys off the point, and Orbital is called in. Terminators do avoid it. They really need to get a slam down right now that knocks the ASM off the point. And the cap does not come in at the end on the north side. If the Tactical Marines had been the ones capping it, it could have happened. The VPs could have stalled out, and red team could have lost the game, but in some bizarre reversal, it goes in the favor of Gistap and Fiery. The Techmarine and the Sorcerer take it, and in what looked like a done deal for blue team, stalling the hell out of red team, well, it just wasn't to be. We see that the brute force of the Apothecary and the Chaos Lord were not enough to beat the technological knowledge and the wiles of the Techmarine and the Chaos Sorcerer. I think this game was in general a pretty good indication of how momentum really is like a pendulum. It swings back and forth. It's never ever going purely in one direction unless you let it. So let that be a lesson to you.
Did you not think to protect your vehicles? You are losing us a victory point.